What are you going to do with that money that was already appropriated?
Well, again, we're waiting for OMB guidance, and obviously they'll reach out and work with Congress on these funds. that have not been
OMB is
spent.
not working with Congress. The president is not working with Congress. You are not working with the Congress. We need to understand, if we are going to appropriate dollars, what it is that has happened. What is it that you propose to do with the billions of dollars that you have expropriated? If you
Yeah,
will?
again, that's a function, as you know, that's OMB has those decisions to
then
make, and they'll have to work with you on it.
I guess you don't have much control over your agency. Let me
including,
just
as
say,
I've already-
you have,
well,
my time is short, Mr. Secretary.
so is mine, and that's why I want to tell you that
well,
we're
my
also
time
going
is
to bring in
short
people
here.
from USAID.
My time is short. I reclaim my time.
Rosa DeLauro thought
Thank you
she
so much,
had
Mr.
Marco
Chairman.
Rubio
I just would-
cornered.
I might
But
quickly
seconds
say
into
that
the
a while
hearing,
ago
the
we had a
attack
briefing
started
by,
falling apart. What
USAID
looked like
senior
a
officials, Jim
devastating
Cunter, Chris
ambush
Milligan,
quickly turned into a
and just
tense clash over
quote,
facts, funding,
what
and
has
who
been done was an
really controls
84% cut,
billions in taxpayer
to,
dollars.
USAID.
DeLauro
It
accused
scatters
the
remnants
administration of
USAID
illegally
across a dozen,
dismantling foreign aid, hiding
state
billions of
bureaus
dollars, and
almost
costing
guarantees
lives.
that,
But Rubio
our
pushed back,
competitors,
challenged
will
several of her claims,
dominate in
and
local
argued that key
competition.
budget
The fact
decisions
is,
rest with the
people have been
Office of
fired
Management and
and,
Budget. As interruptions piled up, the
agencies
hearing
and,
became
programs
less
have been
about
terminated.
answers and more
Secretary
about a
Rubio,
battle
human
over
lives have been
competing
lost,
narratives.
extensive damage is done to the U.S.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I just would I might quickly say that a while ago we had a briefing by USAID senior officials, Jim Cunter, Chris Milligan, and just a quote, what has been done was an 84% cut to USAID. It scatters the remnants of USAID across a dozen state bureaus and almost guarantees that our competitors will dominate in local competition. The fact is, people have been fired and agencies and programs have been terminated. Secretary Rubio, human lives have been lost. Extensive damage is done to the U.S. international standing under your watch. This would not have happened if the administration had followed the law and congressional intent. Congress appropriated foreign aid funding with a clear set of directives, yet with no notice to Congress. The administration has broken the law, completely dismantled U.S. Foreign aid, hijacked funding for the State Department and USAID at the behest of Elon Musk and Doge. I might just say, you don't have the authority, Elon Musk doesn't have the authority, the president doesn't have the authority, and OMB doesn't have the authority. The authority to appropriate funding comes from this body, the United States Congress, and it is so stated in the Constitution. You're now sitting on billions of dollars. This subcommittee, which appropriated that funding in the first place, has no idea of how you plan to use them. Secretary, how do you plan to spend your agency's remaining fiscal year 2025 money, if not as directed by the Congress?
Well, I think the president through OMB is going to work with you and the Congress on how best to, reset the funding levels for the new year and how to move those funds. And we await OMB guidance in that regard.
Well, I would just say for months we have been asking for a list of which programs were cut and why. And all we have received is this unintelligible spreadsheet, a sheet that does not seem to reflect reality. We need clear answers on how you need to plan to spend this year's funding and asking for a commitment that you let us know, because you have terminated programs, you have fired staff. What are you going to do with that money that was already appropriated?
Well, again, we're waiting for OMB guidance, and obviously they'll reach out and work with Congress on these funds.
OMB is not working with Congress. The president is not working with Congress. You are not working with the Congress. We need to understand, if we are going to appropriate dollars, what it is that has happened. What is it that you propose to do with the billions of dollars that you have expropriated?
Yeah, again, that's a function, as you know, that's OMB has those decisions to make, and they'll have to work with you on it.
Then I guess you don't have much control over your agency, Mr.
Well,
Secretary.
ultimately, well, we have a lot of control.
Reporting, you have terminated more than 90% of USAID programs, 60% of programs at state. All are the firing of all our development experts in the next few weeks, and are preparing to fire hundreds more at the State Department. We need an accountability. And if we can't, I don't know, if we can't get it from the Secretary, then from whom are we going to get this accountability? It is your department.
Well, with all due respect, some of your numbers are incorrect. We have not cut 60% of the funding at the State Department. If you're referring to the budget request, that's different. There has not been mass layoffs at the State Department. I think there's been less than 200 people that have been riffed from the State Department. From the
I'm
State
talking
Department.
about, well, USAID. And
Oh,
now
well,
you
that's a
plan,
different one,
well,
right.
no, it's not a different issue. You now plan to take on, and the gentleman said you're going to scatter the remnants of
That's false.
USAID throughout the State Department. Who is going to make sure appropriated funds are spent properly?
Well, they're not going to be scattered. They're actually going to be consolidated in a couple of funds that deliver, for example, International Humanitarian Assistance Fund. We'll also have an increase to the Emergency Refugee and Migration Assistance
You
Fund.
mentioned previous secretaries who have moved in this direction, and I just want to say to you that they decided not to do it because it was ill-advised. 15% of the planned cuts, there's 15% planned cuts of state staff. Now, who is going to make sure that appropriated funds are spent properly if you have fired all the staff with experience overseeing the process? Will you personally be approving every expenditure? I know you have a lot of jobs already.
No, we're not. First of all, we haven't fired any experienced staff other than the people that were riffed out of the 2 divisions in the department. But other than that, I said at the State Department, there's been only under 200 people have been removed. Some have retired and so forth, but that's normal in any cycle. We are also going to hire new people,
Let me
including,
just
as
say,
I've already...
you have, my time is short, Mr. Secretary.
so is mine, and that's why I want to tell you that
well,
we're
my
also
time
going
is
to bring in
short
people
here.
from USAID.
My time is short. I reclaim my time. You have terminated key monitoring and evaluation programs. Allow us to account for the use of this funding. How does allowing the money to flow out the door while hamstringing your own ability to track that money make our government more efficient and prevent waste, fraud, and abuse? It's clear that from the administration and Musk that the process is ignorant of the purpose of foreign aid, utterly unprepared to manage their own dictates, taking a chainsaw to foreign aid with no concern for human lives or the broader consequences for our security, no plan for the future. I yield back.
Representative
Well,
Rosa
I've been saying for
DeLauro
months we have
opened
been
with a
asking for a list
barrage
of
of
which programs
accusations.
were cut
She
and why.
argued the
And
administration
all we
had
have received
ignored
is
Congress,
this
dismantled
unintelligible
major foreign
spreadsheet,
aid programs,
a sheet
and
that does
failed
not
to
seem to
explain
reflect
what would happen to
reality.
billions
We need clear
already
answers
appropriated.
on how
She
you need to
repeatedly
plan to
demanded
spend
answers
this year's
about how
funding
the money
and
would be
asking
spent.
for a commitment that you
Secretary
let
Marco
us know,
Rubio responded
because
that
you have
funding decisions were being
terminated,
coordinated through the
programs,
Office of
you have
Management and
fired
Budget
staff.
and
What are
would
you gonna do with that
involve
money
Congress.
that was already
DeLauro
appropriated?
rejected that
Well, again, we're
explanation,
waiting for
insisting
OMB
Congress had
guidance. Obviously,
received
they'll be trying to
little
work with
useful
Congress on
information
these,
and
funds.
accusing the
OMB
administration
is not
of
working with
exceeding
Congress.
its authority.
The president is not working with
The
Congress.
exchange
You are not
intensified
working
when
with
DeLauro
Congress.
cited
We need
large-scale
to
cuts to
understand
foreign
if
aid
we are
programs
going to
and staffing.
appropriate dollars,
Rubio
what it
disputed
is that
several
has
of those
happened.
figures,
What
saying
is it
some
that you
numbers
propose to
mixed
do
proposed budget
with the
requests
billions
with
of dollars
actual staffing
that
changes.
you have
He
expropriated?
maintained there had
again,
not
that's a
been
function
mass
of,
layoffs at
that's
the State
OMB,
Department,
it has
and
those
said the
Well,
remaining
to make
then I
programs
guess
would
you
be
don't have much
consolidated
control over
rather
your
than
agency,
abandoned.
Mr.
Well,
Secretary.
ultimately,
According
we
to
have a lot of
Sides
public
spoke
reporting,
over one another.
you
The
have
hearing
terminated
shifted
more
from
than
a discussion of
90%
policy
of
to a dispute
USAID
over
programs,
facts, oversight,
60%
and
of programs
accountability.
at state.
Rubio defended the restructuring as an
firing
effort
of
to
all
improve
our
efficiency,
development
while
experts
DeLauro
in the
argued
next
he
few
weakened
weeks and are
oversight and
preparing to fire
endangered the
hundreds
proper
more
use of
at the
taxpayer
State
funds.
Department. We need an
The hearing ended
accountability.
without resolving
And
the
if we can't,
disagreement,
I don't know, if we can't get it
which
from the
arguments were better
Secretary,
supported
then
and whether
from
the
whom are we
administration
going to
has
get this
provided enough
accountability? It is your
transparency about
department.
Well,
its
with all due
foreign aid
respect, some of
changes.
your numbers are incorrect. We have not cut
What do you
60%
think?
of the funding
Did
at the
Rosa
State
DeLauro
Department.
raise
If you're
legitimate
referring to the
oversight
budget
concerns,
request, that's
or did
different. There has
Marco
not been
Rubio
mass
effectively
layoffs at the
answer
State
the
Department.
criticism?
I think there's
Share
been
your
less than
thoughts in the
200
comments.
people